Sir, we are live now.
Good evening all. This is Chandra Mohan, Ortho and Sports Physiotherapist from Sri Samraj Physiotherapy Center, Dindivanam, Tamil Nadu, India. A warm welcome to all for ExRxIndia's and Sri Samraj Health Services Private Limited's presenting WEBATHON series. We will be setting a world record in this series in association with Pickle Studio, Dusat Creations, Sairam Academy, powered by Fitness and Rehab India YouTube channel. ExRx India's 138th webinar topic is Steps in Conducting Scientific Survey. Will be presented by Dr. Asir John Samuel, PhD in Physiotherapy, Neurosciences and Pediatric Neurology Physiotherapist, presently working as Associate Professor in Maharishi Markandeshwar Institute of Physiotherapy and Rehabilitation, Mullana, Ambala, Haryana. I welcome ExRx India team members Dr. Rupesh and Professor Duna Saha, and now I welcome our resource person Dr. Asir John Samuel and request him to commence the 138th session. Please, sir.
Very good evening, everyone, and I'm happy to be a part of this webathon. And I'm happy to hear it is 138 series. And I thank Chandra Mohan sir and his team for providing this wonderful opportunity. And the main, let me directly will go to the topic because already sir has introduced about myself where I'm working. So now we'll start with today webinar topic, steps in conducting scientific survey. The reason for selecting this topic for today's series is in the days of lockdown. Now actually the unlock has started, but during the lockdown, many of us we have started with the survey, and we are keep on conducting small survey, and even we are involving students in the survey. So what are the things we missed, or how it could be rectified, or any modification could be done, or even if we extending the survey in the unlock period, what modification we can do to make it even more effective. So that is the aim of selecting this topic, steps in conducting scientific survey. And at present, this is only the feasible way. In the days of lockdown, and now we are in the unlock, but most of the places still in the restricted zone, so they are not allowed free movement, and we cannot interact with the patient as before in a rehabilitation team, which prevent us from collecting our data for the research. So only possible way by sitting in the home with the help of mobile phone, or even with the help of our whatever the online medium, to continue our research, to learn more, is only by conducting survey. So today we'll see about what are the steps involved, and in scientific way how we can do it. We are perfectly doing the survey, but something we can add it more to even more to make it more perfection. And this is just a definition I've added this slide. It's nothing a system of collecting information from or about people to describe, compare, or explain their knowledge, attitude, behavior. It's just a thing. So these are things we're going to do. If you do a survey, we can describe particular characteristic of a people, we can compare with them, and we can explain and even their knowledge, attitude, behavior. So these things can be done with the help of survey. So survey does, these are the things. And even if you see, this is a main thing. It is a non-experimental research. It comes under main category observational, and we can tell about experimental study. So it comes under observational, non-experimental, and it is a prospective, like from how the patient the feel, what is their attitude. It's just a collection of report. And if you see what are things to be considered, sampling and sample size. This is most of the in major situation, this is missed out, or we are not able to we think this is very minor, but this is very important. Sampling and sample size, which sample you're going to take, and what is the sample size you're going to target for the survey. We cannot send randomly to everyone, or we cannot send 100 people is sufficient, or we cannot tell 50 people is sufficient, 75, or the fancy number of 30. We should determine properly the sample size, then we should implement the survey. So first is sample size, but before the sample size, we should prepare what we're going to search, what we're going to research in the survey. That should be identified. And the method of collecting the data is by interview, or we can tell the questionnaire method. The two method is there, and after that we should implement, follow up, analyze, and interpretation. That is the last. So that is very important. And analysis and interpretation. Analysis is become very easy with the help of most of the online survey form, like survey portal is there, which makes our analysis very easy. So analysis, it we need not go in search of statistician. Even we can do at our home itself. So it's very easy at present. And this is, if you see the flow chart, first we want to identify the research question. What is the aim of doing a survey? Why you want to do a survey? It is not like that everyone does a survey, so we also have to do. So we actually have to precisely have to plan it. Is there a need, or this survey will make any difference in existing our knowledge? Whether it will add anything to our knowledge or nothing. Already there is thousands of surveys that, along with the thousands of surveys, just for a practical experience we are doing, or we are going to add anything to the existing scientific knowledge. So that to be decided first. And it is worth for conducting a survey, we have to think twice, then we should implement it. Before starting or searching a literature, that is very foremost important. And one more thing we want to add it, like survey, it is like a collection of information of particular people. We should not just do a survey about the mental disturbance or the stress of the student in during particular. Yes, during the lockdown, they will have first stress. Why you want to do a survey and want to find it? Is anything going to add anything new? Or how our children is disturbed during lockdown? Yes, there certainly they will be disturbed. So what type of disturbance? How the disturbance is there? Something should be made out. We should not do a survey to confirm yes they are disturbed. And the children, even the students are, we can tell the most vulnerable population is college students. If you send a link immediately, if it is sent by their senior or faculty, they are. It is not like we should inform them they should do, but they are doing. It is like mandatory for them. They does. So voluntary participation is missed out in this. And one more thing I want to add, like mental stress or strain in the student population, that is there, is worth doing a survey and finding. It's already, it will be there. If a human being is there, there will be a certain type of stress. So if you, it is not necessary to do a survey to confirm it. What are the things contributing to that? What are the factor? How we can avoid it? Or what level, particular level, this factor contributes? So such things we want to identify, because most of the like link or survey link at present, if you see what is the level of stress level, and about children, only this type of survey we are aware. So just I want to highlight in this, and state the guiding questions. So this can be obtained only from the literature. So you want to read the literature. We cannot tell like you want to do a survey. Okay, sit under the or sit under the computer in front, or we can get it. No, we want to read the literature, or even nothing like that. We have to sit in the room, or just we close our eyes. Like we can tell the just knowledge comes as such. No, we have to read the literature. Then only knowledge we can get about existing and present trend of particular research question. So you want to read literature, read and read before doing a survey. All after implementing survey, we come to know no, already someone has done. Only we are doing in different location, geographical location. So only that is the thing important in this, or actually some other thing going to play a role. So you want to find it first. Next, this is very important. Develop preliminary items. If you want to do a survey, we want question. So whether we're going to use already validated question, or you going to validate. If you are going to do already validated question, then there is no problem in it. Very simple. Just add the question in particular. Even print out paper, we can give it paper pen for survey, or we can add in some survey portal, and we can circulate it and ask them to fill it. So that is very simple way. At present, even we are not having much knowledge about questionnaire validation. No need to worry. Already validated questionnaire, many questionnaires are there. Just we want to implement it. Every steps they're given, how you want to write it, what is the scoring criteria, and it will be very easy. But if you want to validate the questionnaire, then there lies like series of steps that we will describe in that we'll see. And after that, we have to do a pilot test. That is very important. If we can view when the questionnaire is ready, we can circulate to 5 to 10 people. It is not necessary we should give to more than 30 people. No, that is maybe the actual survey. So ideally, we used to give for 20 people, and we will see how much of them they are responding. We will inform them like respond within a week or within 2 days. Such time we should give, or you can give by tomorrow. So when we say such things tomorrow, how many people are responding? Out of 20, if 60 people respond, then we can tell the survey response rate is 80%. So based on that, we can calculate the sample size and we can implement. So that is very important. So pilot test to be done. Without that, we cannot implement a survey and finalize survey items and format. Sometimes if you get a response rate is less than 30%, if we give to 20 respondent and we are getting the response of maybe only 5%, 5 people responded, that means it is less than, it might be 25%. So in such situation, we cannot proceed with the survey. We should see there might be some flaw is there, our question may not be appropriate, or it may be lengthy. So we should look into it. Again, we have to go for the revision. Then we have to do a pilot test. If it is satisfactory, more than 30%, then we can implement the survey and obtain institutional research board approval and select sample contact respondents. So for obtaining institutional research board approval, it will be a little practically difficult at the time of lockdown or even unlock is started. Many of the institutions, they start resuming, but they will not sit for the approval, or it take time. They will fix maybe 2 month once or monthly once approval. But again, because of these things, it can be done by the maybe even by Zoom or Microsoft Team. Such approval, some institution happen, but most of the institution it is not happening. So we can mention such statement that approval was not obtained, or we can tell it is not submitted for the approval, but we ensure that survey it is done as per the strict guidelines or ethical guidelines. Such words we can use it. So some ethical statements should be there. Except this approval, we should tell other guidelines we have followed, and how we going to contact the respondent, then distribute the questionnaire. So these things should be planned. So this is just like a glimpse how the survey can be executed. So now we can come to know what are the steps we are missing when we are conducting a survey. Sometimes if it is not validated, we should validate the question. We cannot circulate all the question. We should check whether it is fit to obtain particular response. So we should check it, then only we can circulate. And this is for sample size estimation. I have already told you, if response rate is 80%, then in the place of p we should substitute 0.8 and 1 minus p 0.2. And error generally it is not more than 10% of the response rate. So if we are substituting 80% as a response rate, then error it should not go more than 80%. So we can keep 5%. So not more than 10% of the response rate. So this all depends. So once you so from where we'll get this like the value? It is from the pilot survey. So you should do a pilot survey, then you can obtain the response rate. And Z alpha is a constant like 1.96. But you want to calculate at without using the calculator, or a little easier way, we can make it round off 1.96 to 2 also. 2 square will be 4 into, then you can substitute it. Okay. Again, we'll come into this. I will explain the sample size with an example. And if you see the different types we told, like interview, first method is interview method, then we can tell questionnaire method for collecting the data. So interview is nothing, the researcher asks the respondent specific question and record their answer for later analysis. And it is like a 3 types we can tell: face-to-face interview, telephone interview, and we can tell it is a self-report, either interview or questionnaire. Face-to-face, which is this is also a survey method for collecting data. And telephone, it is not only we can tell, we should not adhere to the name. The telephone is a word used, but we can give other ways are there. Even for example, the similar online medium, we can conduct a survey. Even with the cell phone, we can conduct a survey. So this word telephone, it is not always a telephone. And self-report. And how the structure of interview. Interview can be structured interview, semi-structured, or even we can tell unstructured. So three types of that. Structured, so it will be it is similar to a questionnaire method. The detailed questions are there. We cannot change the order, jumble the order of the question. What is printed or what is already pre-planned, the same question should be given. Only instead of this, the benefit of interview is like people who not able to read a survey question and understand, this can be used. It is just we are reading the survey question and we are explaining them what is that. And semi-structured, it is a little you can change in the order of question. Maybe if you ask first two questions, and we'll come to know whether the person is able to respond or not respond. Or if they're finding difficult, then you can tell, okay, this question can be asked later. And which question you feel it is simple or it is easier to them, that question can be asked. So it is semi-structured. And unstructured, there is no structure. Our aim of the research question or our research question we know. And regarding that, we can collect whatever information we want to collect. From it is similar like how most of the viva happening in the institution. When student tell particular answer, from that the examiner will take for the next question. So that is unstructured. So even the viva also can be in the three way we can conduct. Same thing. So, but for the detailed analysis, structured interview could be more beneficial. And now we have to see for question development. What are the steps involved? Drafting. So drafting is very important. So that everything based on the literature. And before starting, so re-examining the purpose of study. So you can start the literature, but again, if you want to re-examine whether really the survey is needed or not, as everyone does, we are also going to do, or something is going to add any value to the existing literature or not. From the survey, we're going to take any quantitative data or just like a qualitative data. So that also should be known. And the drafting is involved format, comprehensibility, whether able to understand, whether more easily digestible parts are added at like a beginning and a little hard digestible part at last. Next, readability. So these things should be taken care when you are drafting a questionnaire. And it is, we know it is like a set of questions printed or typed in order form, a set of forms. Here the respondent have to answer to the questions and have to reply their own, and the data is collected to mailing or distributing the questionnaire. So this is an old method by mailing by post. Nowadays we are just by distributing by email or any other, even it can be circulated by WhatsApp. Even more, some people, what is the target population you want to identify? If target population is a college student or even a school student who uses the social networking medium, like a Facebook, even WhatsApp, Instagram. So these medium can be used for collecting the survey questionnaire. It's not always the email. If you want to collect like a response from the researcher who daily checks the email or respond to the email, then it can be collected through email medium. It is not always we should be like a fixed medium. And postal, it is very it takes time, and at present it is not much feasible. Many places during the lockdown, they stopped the even the postal service, so it will not be feasible. Only online medium might be feasible. And the three main aspects, if you see general form, question sequence, how it should be there, and question formulation and wording. And this is we discussed. And again, regarding the closed and open ended, little we going to see in detail what are the question format. And even if you want to go for the like structured format, initially you can prepare a question in the unstructured way. That means there is no particular format you can prepare. Then when we go for the revision, we can be make it a structure. So that is also one suggestion. It is not necessary first only the question should be very proper format. We can make it, a word can be not appropriate, but later we can modify. And how the sequence should be there, clear and smooth moving, it should go like that. So easy question you have to add at the beginning, and avoid question that cause too much strain on the person, like memory, like you should not ask more than 1 week what day it does, past 1 week. because more than 1 week, past 1 week, or past 2 weeks, then it will be difficult. Just we should limit maximum of 7 days if they recall, and which want to reveal their personal character, wealth. So such things we should not ask in the survey, and we should move from general to more specific. So our research question, what is the base from them? So start from general, then you can move to the basic thing. And the formulation and wording, it should be short and easily understood, simple, and convey only one thought at a time. We should not combine both the sentence when we're doing a survey. So it will confuse the respondent what answer they should provide. Only one, each question should be for only one thought, and concrete. The should be more clearly explainable each, and it can be dichotomous, multiple choice, or open-ended. But open-ended will be very difficult to analyze. It will be like a qualitative research. It can be used, but for analyzing, even for scoring, you want any quantitative data, then it can be multiple choice question is a more favorable option. And dichotomous is just for a, we can tell, demographic characteristic, descriptive, what is their gender, male, female, such things. For that we can use dichotomous, working, married, unmarried. So for such purpose we can use. And these are the, we can tell, like stages of or sub phases of questionnaire development. First, domain and item generating. If you want to do a questionnaire, you want to, it is you are validating a questionnaire or you are preparing a questionnaire. So these steps we should go through. If you are using already validated questionnaire, then this stage we can skip it. It will be very easy. Just you have to type all the questions in that online survey portal, then you have to implement it. But you are going to validate, or you are creating the new questions. So you should go through these things. So domain and item generating, which we can fix on the particular domain. For example, physical activity, and what are other even we can use recreational activity, or more about such things, recreational, physical, or cognitive tasks, or reading, such things. You can make a main domain, but domain should be created at last. You should collect all the items, then group the item under domain. So item is nothing, it is a question. Which questions should be added, and it should be clubbed under what are the domains. So first we want to generate the item. Item can be generated only by reading the literature, as well as by the interview with the concerned person whom you're going to implement the survey. So thereby you create the item. You want to create a survey questionnaire of 10 questions. So initially 10 questions we cannot use it. We should more than the sufficient. At least after analyzing the literature and plus interview with the person, we can create nearly 30 plus questions. Then by further stages of content validation, question can be reduced, and it can be reduced to only 10 questions. But 10 again, we cannot fix it. It can be 10, 9, and based on the content validation. So then first item you should generate, then group item under particular thing. See, similarly, if you see the particular Barthel index we are studying, scale is also a similar like a self-reported question. What are the scales we are using the rehabilitation, we can consider as a self-reported questionnaire. This international physical activity questionnaire is there. Even index, Barthel index, if you see particular, and it is similar like a scoring thing. We have the activity for bathing, toileting, feeding activity, grooming. So these are the domain. Under the domain, what are the activities we are performing? That are the items. So this is very important. And if you develop a question of your own, so we should know these things. And for you should search a literature, as already told, and interview with particular person. It can be 8 to 12 sample, and this also you should collect it, because the recent literature will have, most of the literatures are from developed country or developing, or very few are from underdeveloped because of the language barrier. They can't express themselves because most of the journals English, they like prefer English speaking. If your English is not proper, it will go for desk rejection. So we cannot try it. So from the underdeveloped or developing countries, most of the idea, it may not be get published. So where your, which is a target population, so that population you want to get what is their what they feel about particular research question. So directly you want to involve on the people and collect. So regarding this, you during the lockdown, you cannot meet the people. then you can contact through the same method. Interview we are told during the telephone or any online medium, we can contact and we can get their information also. So this is very important for generating the questions. So question generating is not simple. Single person is not involved. So we should analyze literature plus interview on what people you're going to target. We want to get information regarding the patient feedback. We want to feedback also. It's like a questionnaire. We want to generate it about your physiotherapy treatment. So actually, we should involve on the. We should talk with the patient, how they feel, what are the things are there to be improved. So such thing from having a casual conversation, we can get the information and to be added in the questionnaire. And it can be structured or semi-structured. Next, grouping. So which items are very closely related will be identified and grouped. And placed group item under relevant, then you can generate that domain. So item you have to group it. Maybe all the 5 it is related to only the particular activity related, or a particular time you are using the mobile phone particular activity, using for social media, or using only for education purposes. Some questions you have formed. So such question can be grouped together. Then you can give a name for particular domain. Suitable name can be given. At last, you should check whether all the items are placed under the domain or not. This to be made. So if you make the, if it is like a single only single domain, so you can name it 10 questions under only one domain and you're going to circulate it. But if you want to create a like subdomain, or then you should give a name and each item should be placed under. Content validation done by panel of experts, generally 10 to 12. But some guidelines, they even suggest can go for minimum of 6 people, and we should not go for less than the even some textbooks they tell up to the like minimum of 3 people are needed to a content. 3, 6, 10, 12. So these are the numbers are available. 3 people we can go, and 6, 10, and even 12. And we can suggest 10. 10 is easy for calculation. Out of 10 people, particular item, if it is agreed by more than minimum of 8 people, then that item we should retain in the question. So that is very important. Content validation, the name might look like something, it is very lengthy process, or it is something scientific term. Very simple. When you devise we have generated the item and we have placed under the domain. So now we are circulating the same item by an online medium, or even by the offline, even by the printed paper. You can ask the expert and give your opinion whether you agree. 3 options we should give: agree, disagree, or neutral. Agree, they should agree whether the item can be included in the questionnaire or not, or if they are giving their opinion of disagree. Or sometimes they don't have any idea, then neutral. Neutral and disagree, it is considered as like not a will not give any score. Only if they agree, it is considered. So such that each item, when they give for 10 experts, 8 of the experts, minimum 8 should agree with the particular item. Then that item is retained in the questionnaire. If 7 people or 6 people agree, then that item to be removed. Again, there is a consensus there. Consensus, like group of people, they gave one statement. Even some variations are there. Some people, they are informing 70% agreement is sufficient. Some people 80% is sufficient. So we target anyway for more, little higher. If we are getting a very limited question, then we can go for next consensus at least 70%. 70% means out of 10 people, 7% should be agree with particular question, particular item. Then it will be retained. It is very important. And percentage level of agreement between experts can be used to evaluate the content validity of items and domains. So we are generally we target to fix at 80%. If we are not able to get sufficient, for example, out of 30 questions, only 5 questions is validated, and very difficult. So we should go a little relaxation. We should use some guidelines. Some they tell 77%, or some they tell 70 is sufficient. So whichever it is suits, such that you get some handful of questions also. Only 4 we cannot get in much information. Ideally, it should be like 8 and above. It will be a sufficient length of the questionnaire. More questions, then it become more of the bottom, and they will not give actual what they want to reveal. And then after that, it should be reviewed by a colleague then who are the expert members should be there. So it is either it can be the same level of people who have the knowledge about what are you going to do. If they particular doing on the periarthritis shoulder condition you want to do, so who already treated the patient or who have particular knowledge about that, so only that type of people you should give in the question. You cannot give to everyone. You cannot give your friends who are in the learning phase. So expert is particular, but in the many some statement is the expert means who are in the particular field having at least 10 years of experience are called experts. Minimum 10 years of experience they are called experts, because that might be the reason in Indian many institution at 10 year, if they are particular field in the teaching field they gave a grade of professor, or even that is in UGC that is different category, at least 10 it should be for expert. So all elements of construct under were addressed are not there were to be checked, and question were understandable also they will be checking. So then they will give a rating. Yes, it can be agreed or disagreed. And these are the variable you should be get to our the item level content validation index. This also to be. This is generally questionnaire and scale is almost similar. So each questionnaire development also it should go through these steps. And item level content validation index, it is for single item what is the level of agreement. It is nothing like if 8% agreed then it will be 0.8. So like that each item we have one level ICVI value, then you have to generate a mean value. So scale level content validation index, from there we can generate. So from that we should use like based on universal agreement or average. Universal agreement means actually how many people have totally agreed for a particular item. So based on that you have to get generate the value, and for that scale level content validation index it can be minimum of 0.4, but for average method it should be minimum of 0.8 above. That means 80% agreement it should be there overall. Then only you can continue with the question. So this again I want to stress it. This is the this session will give a glimpse of what are the things you are to be considered when we circulating or when we are preparing a survey questionnaire or when you are circulating a survey. And it takes a little more detailed explanation to make understand. So I just highlight the value. We can just copy the value or write the value in any search engine, Google or Yahoo. It will give you the detail how it is done. It is very simple. You can know it. And my aim is just to bring to a notice these are the variables should be there. So when you when you validate the questionnaire with such terms and you write in a manuscript for publication, that itself they tell okay done by proper method, high chance of getting accepted and your survey will be get published. And items can be accepted or modified, delete based on the agreement. And then if you want, scoring criteria can be used. That is very important. Score you want, it can be individual. Sometimes the score C you can even place a score of such a no difficulty, some difficulty, lots of difficulty. Lots of difficulty you can give 1, 2, 3. So higher the score, then you can mention it. The difficulty level increases. And even you can give scoring for such like items, and even not at all confident, quite confident, extremely confident. I have never tried this. So such items also you can give a score. Otherwise, for analysis you may find difficult. So scoring, I suggest scoring can be given, and a Likert scale can be used for scoring. Strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. 5-point Likert scale, and these are other like some examples. Very difficult, difficult, neutral, easy, very easy. You can go for increasing, and if 3 and above, then the person overall agreed. So if you are giving 10 questions and overall the average, if it comes more than 3, or we can tell the out of 10, when you do a cumulative score, each question is carry 5 points. So if you see 10, then 50 points are there. So more than 30, then most of the people they favor. If it score is around 30, then it is a neutral. If it is less than 30, then we can tell doesn't favor a particular thing. But the same thing, question format should be the same. You should not ask a negative question, and then it will be little difficult for calculating. Question should be all in a positive way. So two negative words if you use, then Again, it's a positive, but one negative, then again, it will be difficult to analyze. So these are other format we can use when we devise a questionnaire. Even so, these are things if you want to see visual analog scales. Recently, it is some portal we can draw we can keep a marker and we can stress it how much they feel of particular question. That also can be used. It is not only for pain. We can use the what is their opinion. Their opinion favor or doesn't favor, agree, disagree. It can be kept agree, disagree, and you can stretch the marker either side and correct. It can be even more accurate. We can tell for quantity data. Then you have to do a pilot test for a comprehensibility, acceptability, complexity, whether it is too complex or not, any administrative difficulty you having. Because when you are circulating, you should get at least minimum 30% response. Then only we can be more confident. Yes, this question will get validated properly. Then you can circulate. If not, then you have to look into that. So this already I have told about. Sample size after pilot testing. If you are getting a response rate of consider 60% response rate, then when we substitute, see, consider this is an example of 60% response rate, and 1 minus p then will be 40%. Error I consider 5%, and as already I have told, you should not go more than 10%. So 60 means the it should not go more than 6%. So 5% is ideal, and we can use it for calculation accuracy. Or it is 5% is generally many situations it is used as a cutoff point. So 5% error. Anyway, we are not violating the prescribed guidelines. Not more than the 10% of response rate. And when we substitute, we are getting 368.8. And we already know that person cannot be in fraction. So we should, the minimum required sample for this survey, if the response rate is 60%, then you should circulate to minimum 369 people. 369 people, it should be circulated. And we will have a practical difficulty when we circulate through the WhatsApp group, because all people are really a potential respondent or not, we should identify. Then we can circulate. Or one suggestion is you have to frame a group new for the survey group, add all the people, only potential participants you should identify, add it, then you can circulate it. That is another option. If you add in the already existing group, we may not be aware all the persons are potential participants or not. If in a group we have 40 or 50 people, then we have 50 into, we have circulated to the 7 groups. Each group 50 people, 50 respondents are there. So we should not now consider 350 samples we have circulated. All are potential. If all are potential, then we can circulate it, and we can justify we have circulated 350, and another group we can circulate, or handful of people of 19 people we can circulate it. 369 is a minimum sample. So this should be considered. And most of the survey while we are executing, this is a neglected part. Sample size is not estimated. Sample size is the first and foremost to be estimated when we know the response rate. Otherwise, we may not know how many people we want to distribute. And if it is less than the 30, it should go for revision and modification, and eliminate if frequency of response is less than 30, and the modification of item scoring criteria will be made after discussion with experts who involved in the content validation. If more than 13, do not worry, then you have to circulate to more sample. If you get the 35%, or if you get 40%, then it will increase. Then after incorporating everything, you will get about the final draft to be made, and you can give a suitable name to the questionnaire. So this is very important. You can keep the starting word of all the component what you add in the questionnaire, then we can frame it. PARQ, physical activity readiness questionnaire, already the validated questionnaire are there. Such name you can give it. And when you create the, you give new name for the questionnaire, plus the questionnaire is finally prepared, be aware, you should be, the intellectual property of the questionnaire should be registered. So it is worth doing filing a copyright, and ideally copyright is minimum like 30 to 45 days. If there is no flaws in there, you have all the required document whether you have submitted, you will get copyright for the questionnaire. That is important, which is missing. Because when you circulate the questionnaire in the social media, or even when you circulate even by printed paper, the questionnaire is out. Your hard intellectual work involved in preparing a questionnaire can be easily taken by others. So you want to get copyrighted for the question involved. All the questions which you are circulating, it should get copyrighted. Then you circulate. So you will be the owner for the questionnaire. Who are the team members? It can be owner or author. So this will protect the right of misusing. Even sometimes they want to circulate the questionnaire. It can be used for even commercial purpose as well as non-commercial purpose. They can ask your permission, then they can circulate. If they go for violation, then the minimum it's assured of some 10,000 to more amount. You can claim a compensation. Without our permission, they are used our questionnaire, because your hard-earned process in drafting a questionnaire should not go waste. Filing a copyright, it makes only a 505 rupees. 5 rupees plus they make a tax 505 rupees, and you can make it plus postal charges. And this is just we will go through the merits. Low cost when sample size is large, free from interviewer bias, because we are circulating a questionnaire, and respondent who are not easily approachable, only this is only the main and reliable, and they can have adequate time. Because if you go for interview method, the person will be sitting in front, or they will be in the online. They should respond immediately. We cannot make the person to wait. So this is little convenient in that. But what are demerits? Low return rate of beautiful questionnaire. If it is less, then again it can, in the pilot it can go for more than 30% response, because you know the person who little bias might be there. You know whom they will respond. You will give only to that person the questionnaire to fill it. But actually, when you're circulating your mode, if you get less than 30% response rate, then they're very difficult for analyzing. But you should analyze and you should mention what are the responses you obtain, and can use only when respondents are educated and cooperating. Otherwise, we can't use the questionnaire method. And there is inbuilt inflexibility. Once you circulated the questionnaire, you cannot change the order. You cannot go for any other changing the word comprehensibility. They find difficult to answer. No, we can't. So that is the inbuilt inflexibility is there. And slowest of all, we should wait patiently. Required repeated reminder messages, WhatsApp messages, or even reminded by even whatever the Facebook Messenger you are using. If you're using the email, gentle reminder to be given. They not respond within a week. Ideally, 2 weeks time can be given. After 2 weeks, the person generally may not remember the particular. So again, the reminder should be given. If the person has to fill the questionnaire, they might fill within 2 to 3 days. More than 3 days, then actually they skip out from their mind. So it is our responsibility to make them remind, because their work is not only to fill the questionnaire. It is one of their work. But for you at present, at your research, this is only the work. Then you should remind them. This is our responsibility. And if some question is left out, so interpretation will be difficult. So you should give an option. No answer option should be given, and it is considered as a 0. So it will be easy for calculating. A control over questionnaire is last once it is sent. It's already discussed, and difficult to know whether willing respondent or true representative. So you should find it an actual representative. Only you should give it. Sample itself a true representative. So you should identify the perfect sample, then you distribute the questionnaire. So after the first revision, accept, and the pilot test, you should see the response rate and difficulty in reaching. And after the final revision, then motivating the people to respond. You can give an incentive. So some even I have seen the survey, like they consider the survey by a question, and when you finish the question, for particular companies are there, even like multi-chain companies, like if we can tell KFC, Domino's, they they circulate the feedback form. This is also a form of questionnaire. Once you fill the form, you will get a unique code, and when you submit, you will get at least a 10% minimum reduction in the next bill. And it should be given within 21 days or 14 days, some time period, because after that you will forget about it. Your recall bias is you cannot recall more than 21 days. Such things are there. So within 3 weeks, you want to circulate the questionnaire. such thing you can adopt it. And even one more suggestion, some place I have noticed they used to link with the you can enter your Google Pay number or such UPI code where the amount can be transferred. Minimum of 10 rupees. If you finish successful the survey, so this will help to do get more response. Incentive is very important. Without incentive, no one do respond to your questionnaire. If they actually responding to your questionnaire, actually they want to know how the questionnaire is drafted or what are the questionnaire included in the questionnaire. It is out of curiosity they are responding to the questionnaire. So that is also a incentive. So sometimes the person don't have a curiosity, you want to create a curiosity. So you can give a monetary benefit or any other way you should mention it. Then it will be increase the response rate. Response rate is less, then you can do it. Initially pilot test, if you are getting a response rate of 40-50, then you should go for an incentive ideally. Then you will get more response. Then implementation, data analysis, and data analysis implementation. I already told you can go for the if you are targeting a student population, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram is ideal. Email is not ideal. Most of them they never check the email, or they very difficult to respond to your email when because this is the least attended. Frequently attended is at present in a survey we can tell two things is very we can tell three things. First, most of the people now recently attending to our survey, Instagram, and second they respond to the WhatsApp, and third become the Facebook. That keep on changes. So you can target three and you can implement it. And data analysis, see this is only the medium of implementing, but you should enter the question. Where you enter the question, you need some like portal. The portal is Google Forms are there. Even paid Google paid survey portals are there that you can use it. If you use Survey Monkey, maximum 10 questions you can add it, and 100 responded, not more than 100 responded. So you want to purchase it. Such you have to identify suitable for your research question, then you can circulate it. Then at last you want to report. It is very important. Report in a standard publication medium. That is very important. That comes the end of your research. This I just want to highlight. Facebook app you can paste, you can do a survey, but only 40 respondent you can have it, not more than 40. Unlimited question, unlimited survey you can do, but only 40 respondent. And again here, you can do more survey, that is unlimited survey, yes means survey, and only 10 question and 100 respondent survey month. It is for free. If you want to go more, then you want to pay it. Even in Facebook also, this is a free. I am like without the payment. You want to go increase the respondent, then you want to pay online payment, then your respondent can be increased. And even question limit already is unlimited. And so go survey. It is 15 survey you can do for one portal if you have, or one login. 30 question can be added, 110 respondent. So you want to increase more based on the response rate. If you're getting more response rate, 90% of respondent reported, then you may not go more than 150. So you can choose little paid thing. But unlimited survey, unlimited questionnaire, and unlimited respondent, it is Google form. Here what are the questions you type, it is automatically getting stored in the Google Drive with your Google account, and you can circulate it. This is the cheapest of all. And just I want to highlight, so we have conducted the prevalence of text-neck syndrome and SMS thumb among smartphone users in college-going students. This is also a cross-sectional survey study. So we have able to successfully get the responses, and we have published this recently. So when you go for survey, it should report it. Reporting is important. Then it will be useful for the mankind, because for each survey, if you want to see the human hours, or even we can tell the single minute used, it should not go waste, because they are using from their life for benefit of mankind, or for our purposes they are using from their life nearly 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So it should not go waste. So it should report in a proper medium, and it should be everlasting for benefit of mankind. So even you can go to the next, see impact of nomophobia. If you don't have mobile in our hand, what fear we are having, what type of fear. So even such also we have done perform a survey. It is a non-drug addiction among students of physiotherapy course using an online cross-section survey. And this is the Indian Journal of Psychiatry we have published. So whatever we done a survey, it should go in a proper medium, and even you can report it. And this is Facebook and WhatsApp in identifying current practices of neurological physiotherapy intervention in neonatal intensive care units in Indian scenario. So this we have used Facebook and WhatsApp because our target population is only the college students. So which is their current trend. This is we actually started in 2000. You can go through it. 2018 we started the survey. That time the impact of Instagram is not as much. Now each and every photo people used to circulate through Instagram. Even they have a link when we send a message through that we can conduct a survey. But that time 2018 it is not much in popular. So Facebook and WhatsApp is little more. So we conducted through that medium. You can see we are using only the student friendly medium. And this is a recent thing. Even during our COVID-19 lockdown, we have conducted a survey. Impact on coronavirus lockdown on physical activity and energy expenditure among physiotherapy professional and student using web-based open e-survey sent through WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram messages. So this is a recent, and even this survey report we can able to see in the WHO site, which is specially allotted for the research related to COVID. So when we do something during the period of pandemic, you want to have an impact. Your research should have a place, so you can do and you should publish it. Then it will happen. Ideally, if you do a survey only on some usual topic, it may not go. So from this, even we have found physical activity. We know it is reduced, but how much it is reduced, we want to know. And we have used a numerical value. So for this, we have already used a validated questionnaire. So what are the steps we have seen now? That step, there is a note. It's very easy. We just have to type the questions and we have implemented it. And what are things we have seen? Survey, what is survey? And steps in implementation. Phases in questionnaire development, that is very important, which is a neglected part. We should not consider what are the questions we write, it is valid. It should get validated. And separate description should be mentioned, how you validate the questionnaire. Without that, it is not accepted. Because one person questions may not be, which should go for an expert opinion, then we want to revise it. And the sampling and sample size should be there. And this is also, this too is neglected part when you create a questionnaire. You're using a validator questionnaire, then you can skip about phases in questionnaire development. But this cannot be skipped, sample size. And always online survey modes, what are things we have just had a glimpse. There is a few things. Google form is cheapest of all, and publish survey. So I think I have made some information which is not known. It is you make you may think survey is simple, we can do it by ourselves. Yes, but few things if you add to that, it will be even more useful for the mankind. And after this, I think you may tell, no, still it is like confusing, or I don't know. Then I given some certain words like item, like scale, content, validation, index. So such things you can note it and you can search online. You can get more information only that, and the sample size might be new. Otherwise, it's a self-explanatory. And again, I want to stress it. I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. I do, I understand. You want to understand the full concept of the survey, full concept, how it is to be performed actually. Then you have to do. Please involve in doing a survey. You, whatever you hear today, it is a natural. You will forget. You can remember. So that is only the Chandramohan sir and his team has made. Dr. Chandramohan's team has really a wonderful work. They made us to visualize whatever we are discussing, even the concept or the formula. They made us to see. So little they can remember, but you can understand. My work is not able to make you 100% understand. Only when you yourself perform a survey, you will come to know many queries you may come across. Then you will search for the answer. At last, you can understand. So that is the last step. It is a very learning process. Very difficult to make understand in single class. And I acknowledge the team for wonderful opportunity. And I can, and small sharing of information could make some difference. And I thank our principal sir for providing an opportunity. Without some motivation, we cannot do it. And I thank you. I end up the today's series.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for teaching us a very simple way how to do the research, and we will take questions from our participants if there is any. And YouTube viewers, you can type your questions in YouTube live chat itself. We will read it out here.
And it might be a little boring session because of the research, but my aim is only to take few points about the statistical part in form. Other all, it is might be known.
No, actually, it is not at all a boring session. I was getting messages to WhatsApp that the session is very nice, actually. Okay. Participants are sending messages to me, so it's not a boring one.
Thank you for your motivational word, but really good work you are doing, sir. Great.
Thank you so much. There are a lot of appreciations in the chat box, and also there is a question in the chat box.
Yes, sir.
Rupesh, will you please read it out?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
First one is from Ms. Preeti. Sir, please tell tools for doing systemic review and meta-analysis.
This is actually the outside the scope of today's session, but for information I can say it. There's a tool for systematic review. It is you want to know about the search term and existing like a database. You like search term keyword can be fix a medical subject heading keyword. Mesh term we used to tell MESH medical subject heading keyword. Only you want to use it, and within the quotation mark in the PubMed or any other database, then particular article can be retrieved. And for doing a meta-analysis, for doing even Phas plot, there is a review manager software is there, which is it freely distributed by Cochrane collaboration. So review manager at present, fifth version is there to best of my knowledge. So that can be utilized.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Ms. Johamaina. Sir, if some questions I need to take from some other reliable data, is there any legal procedure to contact that resource person, or directly can I put it to my survey?
Like if you want to, some other person is a owner, they only have the intellectual right of the questionnaire. So you can send email request. I want to use your validated questionnaire, which is our research interest. So I want to use it. So you can ask their permission, clearly stating request for requesting or permission for the use of the questionnaire. So if they grant, it is well and good. You can save that what is the email response. If future any issues come, then you can have it. Otherwise, even when you contact them, they may ask, yes, I am willing to use, I'm giving you the permission. But as it is involves some commercial, or we have spent some monetary or amount in that, you want to like pay such a amount, maybe in $10, or we can tell $20 if you are using it for non-commercial purpose. Commercial purpose, it can be $50 or $100. Then after giving a payment, they will give a right, yes, you can use it. Certain statement is there. So that you can contact only through email. As if they devised a questionnaire, certainly their email will be in 2 or 3 publication. From there you can take it. That is not a difficult task.
Okay, sir. Next question is from Mr. Parul Jain. I was done 18 subject. Is the study under the either pilot study or survey type study, sir?
18 sample they were recruited for a survey.
Yes, sir.
Okay, because there is a, we can tell if minimum of 12 sample, then we can tell that it is a pilot. And for sufficiently sample, minimum sufficiently sample, then we can tell it is a 30. But it doesn't come under both the category. It's little above the pilot. And the 18 subject, we cannot get much information. We can consider it as a pilot. Because I already told, for a pilot survey, for calculation accuracy, we used to do for 20 people. 5 to 20 we can use for pilot survey. So it is actually a pilot. and SAR can use for calculating response rate. Then based on the response rate, we can do the actual survey.
Yes, sir. And next question is from our YouTube viewer, Mr. Pratap. Online method of survey questionnaire may highly chances of bias, sir.
It is there because as I already told, if you not actually send to the questionnaire to the actual respondent, then biases are there. Sometimes it can be same person can respond twice, thrice, increasing the sample size. So there should be some restriction should be placed when you circulating the Google form. In one IP address, only one response possible, or one login email, only one time response can be registered. Even though it can be, it is difficult to control. Only the person think we are doing against the ethical principles or we are violating the ethical norms, then it can be stopped. Otherwise, very difficult because it can keep on circulating. We can change the IP address easy. One person can have 2 or 3 SIM cards. So each SIM card, each net connection can have different IP address can show. And even the geographical geotagging they used to tell, even geographical location also can be changed. A person morning can be in, for example, it can be in Chennai, and afternoon he can go for might be or next day he can go to maybe Tirunelveli or Kanyakumari, and again he can do a response with different email ID or anything. So it is very difficult to control. Only if the person thinks it can be controlled.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Many appreciations in between, sir. And people are asking your mail ID.
Yes, sir. It is my full name.
We will post in group actually.
Yes, sir. Whether I can type it here, it is possible for me to type.
Yeah, sir. You can open.
I will. We have 3 groups. We have 3 groups. We will post in the WhatsApp group. No need to
Okay,
worry
sir.
about
Okay, sir. Fine, sir.
Yes.
it. Just send it through WhatsApp to my number. I will post it.
Okay.
Any other questions from YouTube
at
viewers?
present, I
Can
have
we
given
check?
this. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for your mail ID, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any more questions, dear
Yes.
participants? So next is from Miss Prachi.
Yes, sir.
Is importance in physiotherapy field, that is research is important in physiotherapy field, she is asking, sir.
If you want to create interest in day by day, whatever we are treating with the patient, we want to ourselves get motivated, then research is very important. Because patient, you want to document how much the patient improvement. And further, you need some outcome measure. So further, you want to read the research and how it can be modified. This outcome measure is not suitable for the patient. So how we can change it. So everything, it comes with the treatment. When you treat the patient, you will get motivated. So most of people might think like if the person is doing more research or he is just doing more publication, it is not involved in treating patient. So patient would have treated either day by day basis or daily, or already would have treated little based on that some knowledge, or either guiding the students. Along with the students, he or she might uh, see patient. So only from treating patient we can get the interest or our research question might arise. It is not actually the person who do research should be involved in treating the patient. If he guide a student involved in treating the patient, from there also we can get knowledge.
Yes, sir. And next question is from our YouTube viewer again, Mr. Pratap.
Yes.
What is the reliability and valuability of online interview or questionnaire methods, sir?
So that is if based on the particular set of question, it may change. We cannot. It is not fixed for all the questions. For example, particular you want to find about mental stress level. At present, many people are doing the survey. So you can online. We can conduct a interview or we can conduct a questionnaire evaluation, and we should make it. We should have a record with us. Like that, we can perform for the same person twice, and we have to calculate the reliability. So it is not fixed for all the. It might change for particular research question. Some question it is more valid, some question it is not valid, which cause more strain on the mental ability. So it may vary. So we cannot tell a fixed.
Yes, sir. Shankar, sir.
Yes, sir, Rupesh.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Asir sir, very
Yes, sir.
good
Yes, sir.
presentation, sir. I have one doubt,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So now current situation, I'm going to COVID IC duty, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
I want to do a research on COVID populations. So the problem I have to send the IEC, they're asking the sample size calculation, sir. So the sample size
Yeah.
calculation is based upon the prevalence of the study. So currently the prevalence of COVID, it's not yet concluded. So how I will be for sample size I can choose, sir? That is my first question, sir.
Okay. It is, we can anticipate, like, for example, prevalence, if it keep on increasing the rate, so at what rate it is increasing. So based on that, we can calculate. If it is keep on, your survey should be completed by maybe within 3 months. So from the past trend, from the past onwards, at what rate it is increasing. Maybe some percentage is 30, 40%, it keep on increasing, 50%. So based on that increasing rate and present prevalence, you can anticipate maybe in another 2 months or 3 months, the prevalence rate will be at this. So then we can use for the calculation. It is all in anticipating instead of calculating, instead of just circulating on anticipation. But whatever we do, we should write properly. Like from the past trend, March to August, this is the prevalence rate. It is increasing and this is a trend. So my survey study going to start from August and it will be end by maybe October, August, September, 3 months. So 3 months, the prevalence will be expected to increase at certain thing. Then what is the final prevalence we obtained? Based on that, we can use for calculating the prevalence rates.
Okay, sir.
That's the
Thank you,
suggestion.
sir.
And
Thank
whatever
you,
we
sir.
are writing, you just have to describe it even in the publication. Then that's
Okay,
it.
sir. Okay, sir. Sir. And sir, second question. Most of the IEC for Institutional Ethical Committee, they are not accepting a survey type of studies, sir.
Survey.
And one more the same, because some other questions I'm taking, they're asking copyright for that particular and the clearance from that. And even I can modify any question also, they're asking you are taken for the which reference, there will be any proof, like that. A lot of questions are asking, sir.
Yes, sir. Because we cannot modify. If you modify, either you have to, that means you are creating a new questionnaire. You can take information from the literature. Same wording, we cannot use it because they are the intellectual owner, or they are that intellectual idea. It's copyrighted under their name. So we cannot like a Barthel index something is that we cannot change the wording. So you can use it the same concept and you can change the word, but you should again you want to do what are the steps we seen before questionnaire development, and you should create a new scoring criteria. Then you can be the owner. Otherwise, very difficult. We cannot change even single question what already existing questionnaire. We should implement as such. And for that, even I have added a point. Whatever questionnaire you have prepared, you should get for copyright. Then you are the owner for that. Otherwise, other questionnaire we cannot adapt as such.
How I make my for own copyright, sir? Any other guidelines are there, sir?
Yes, sir. Because online copyright, you can type it in Google. I think it will go for in India online copy. Just online copyright India. You can type it. The link will be there. Online copyright filing. In that you have to go and you can add all the details. Who is the owner? What is the title of the thing? And even you can upload your questionnaire. Then you can go for the copyright. So once the questionnaire is ready, even for ethical clearance, you asked that the ideal aim is when the questionnaire is ready, then only the ethical clearance we can apply. Before the questionnaire is ready, we cannot apply. Only with the vague idea. This is the based on this we're going to do a survey, and these are the questions we're going to frame. No, they will not give because their aim is to see the question whether the question put any strain on the person or not. If it doesn't cause any strain, then we can use it. But even most of the place, the ethical, casually, there's doing a survey. If you go for the already I mentioned about Domino's or even for the KFC, whether you think there will be a proper ethical clearance from there, they just want to get a feedback. So that is also a questionnaire. So you can mention it. We agree there is a such question, such cause the personal or mental strain is not there. Some statement we can mention it. and only when you agree with that, you can submit it. And submission of questionnaire, it involves that you provide a consent. You should not give. It is most people they might be providing at the starting of the questionnaire whether you agree for certain questions what are going to proceed. If agree, then you provide consent. If no, the survey link will tell thank you. But instead of such practices, we can give a statement. A successful submit. Once you submit, it denotes you have provided the consent. So such statement is there because we can force them to fill the questionnaire. But submit means it is they are providing consent. So consent statement is we are fulfilling. Plus, it doesn't cause any. If you agree, it doesn't cause any mental strain or any of your personal statement we are revealing. If you agree, then you can submit it. So such statement if you use, and plus if ethical clearance during the lockdown period, if it is not possible, you can use it. We are performing the survey in accordance with the ethical guidelines prescribed by the ICM, Indian Council for Medical Research. There is 2017 guidelines are there. We can use it. Plus Helsinki Declaration or Declaration of Helsinki 2013. Helsinki, Helsinki, Helsinki Declaration. Such words, when we use, we can accept from the ethical clearance also. In recent, one of my published survey, ethical clearance we have not submitted. The reason I told, due to the COVID lockdown, because of the ethical clearance we are not submitting, we cannot stop doing a survey. Then we will lose the period, our survey will be missed. So we used clearly, and it is agreed by the editor, then they publish the statement. So this statement can be used.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Nice presentation, sir. Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next one is from Dr. Nilima Roda. I guess the same question. Is the online survey is reliable one, sir?
It is because it is all depend upon the like it is what procedure happening in the offline, same thing happening in the online. So if offline is reliable, online also should be reliable. And only reliability we cannot tell it is actually the reliability. People might change. Today they may get some answer, tomorrow they may change it. Students will tell particular answer for the questions today, tomorrow they will change. So there is always the 100% reliability is not possible. So acceptable limit, if it is more than 75% or 80%, then it should be accepted. So everything there is a flaw. People mind change, so reliability changes.
Fine, sir. Next one is from Mr. Jitendra, sir. Sir, do we need consent from author if his questionnaire matches with our questionnaire, but it has lesser or more number of questions?
It is safer to obtain a consent. And incidentally, our questions with what we prepared, it matches with your already existing question. So can we use it, or any other we want to pay a loyalty, we can ask them. But very rare. That means you should have gone through the questionnaire and you adapted. Instead of changing the wording, you have used the same thing. That again, it might go for the copyright violation. But if the author everything satisfied, that will not be a problem.
Yes, sir. Next one is from Dr. Rio Ratnaraj, sir. Excellent presentation, sir. Is it advisable to get intellectual property right before or after a pilot study?
It is ideally to get after a pilot study. And as Sir asked, is a very, I think it is question is very useful, because when you do a pilot study, the question it out, anyone can copy the questions or can use the same thing. If it is worth, it is nothing. No one has told we should not do. It is not nowhere we not able to find a written statement like before pilot study we should not do it. It's actually like one copyright might get amount spending and getting a copyright might get wasted. Otherwise, we can do before doing a pilot study. If any modification, again you can use like a version 2. Only the reason for not advising copyright before is the questionnaire name will be same. again we cannot go for the same questionnaire copy. We can change the name like version 0, or we can use 1.0 or 2.0, 2.0 something. Such things we can use. Same questionnaire 1. Or version 1, version 2. That can be the after pilot study. Version 1 can be the before pilot study. So such can be used.
Fine, sir. Next one is from Miss Yuvarani, ma'am. I really enjoyed your webinar, sir. Thanks a lot. It was a bit long but very informative. I have learned so much in it, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any more questions? Again from Mr. Jitendra, sir. Sir, is consent form is required separately for online data collection, or is it that the responses given online by the subjects may be considered as model of consent?
Yes, the responses, if the survey submitted, submit the survey link after responding all the question, then it can be considered that they have provided the consent. Without their consent, how they are writing the answer. If they are mentioning, if they are giving a replying, that means their consent is there. Without consent, they will not open their mouth, or they will not place where you want to mark. So that means they are given a consent. It is already understood. And when you are sending for the publication, you give a mention. A successful submission of survey response is considered as a consent. The consent by the respondent. That statement should be mentioned. There is no statement specially asked for the consent, and the successful submission is considered as a consent. Or for safer side, before after the last question, successful submission will confirm that you have provided a consent. That you can mention it in the questionnaire. Because if you mention separate option, people will think twice whether you want to go yes or no. Once they mention no, then because of the restriction we are giving in an online survey, second time they cannot fill a response, because by mistaken, if they do a no, the survey question will end. Thank you. So it is better to avoid such a question at initially, yes or no. Are you providing consent? You can mention such statement at the last.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Neelima is raising her hand.
Yeah, I unmuted her, sir.
Yes,
She can unmute her, sir. Ma'am is not unmuting herself, sir.
Okay. Any other questions from YouTube side?
Hello.
Yes,
Good evening, sir.
yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Sir, I have doubt. Can you please don't mind, can you please simplify the method of survey once more, sir? That means how we should, what we say, methods we need to follow, essential things we need to take care of.
Topic research.
Yes, for research
Yes,
purpose.
Yes. What is the aim? Why you want to do a survey? So that
Yes,
you should
sir.
have a clear idea whether really there is a need or not. Real need, just for performing sake you are performing. That to be clear. Then based on that you have to search the literature. What are the literature available that you want to have a corrective point should be ready. Then you want to frame the items. That is a questionnaire to be, questions should be framed. And each question we can place under certain, if we are going to create a new questionnaire, then these steps should be adopted. But you're going to use already validated questionnaire, then these steps can be skipped. Like questionnaire development can be skipped. Otherwise, you want to devise a questionnaire, collect the question from the existing literature, plus by interview method you can add the questions. Both should be considered. Then initially maybe 30 questions, you go for the content validation. Expert will give the opinion. 30 question will reduce to maybe 23 questions, 13 questions. Finally, it may come for 9 questions. Then you are to perform the pilot study and you will get a response rate. If response rate is more than 30%, then you can be assured that your questions are more apt for particular concept what you're going to find. And you can go with the implementation. Implementation by various methods is there, online medium or even by offline mode is there. Then you have to go for analysis. At last, you report the data. So this is a like it is very simple method in the research.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering
Yes,
her question.
Yes,
We will conclude. Rupesh?
Yes, sir.
I thank all the participants and YouTube channel Fitness and Rehab India YouTube viewers and ExRx India team members Dr. Rupesh and Professor Duna for their support to run the session smoothly. And I thank our resource person Dr. Asir, John Samuel for being so polite and answering all the questions with the patience and make everyone's question clear, doubts cleared. So I thank him very much. I thank everyone. We will meet tomorrow by 7 p.m. in a new topic. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.